I want to share something we've recently started using, a new app called Beef Hub. It was built by cattle haulers for cattle haulers, and it's full of the info you actually want and need as a driver. They're constantly updating it with the most current details for the places that we go every day. If you're in this line of work, it's worth checking out. Use my referral code RURAL when you sign up and let us know what you think. Welcome to the Rural Dispatch, the podcast delivering stories from rural America. I'm your host, Allie Behrens. Headquartered in rural Iowa, I help run a nationwide livestock transportation company, and I'm here to bring you stories from the people who help shape this industry and our rural communities. Whether you're a trucker, livestock producer, or rural entrepreneur, this show is for you. Each week, we explore the realities of rural business life, from the highways to the fields and everything in between. So buckle up and let's dive into today's episode. Okay, today we have Ryan and Ryam Nelson with us. They have a concrete business, Concrete Creators, and they are the new owners of Jefferson Monuments in Jefferson, Iowa. And I am so excited for everyone to hear your story. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Okay, where should we start? Actually, the other day, Smoke was telling me that he thinks Ryan is his oldest friend.
Probably.
Well, geez.
Well, yeah. We go back to, I think I was younger than 6. I don't even know.
Alta Vista.
Yeah.
And you lived on San Salvador or Capistrano.
Capistrano.
Yep.
So that's what I was trying to explain to her. I said, I think Nelson might be my oldest friend I got because I was going to go-kart races when I was like 5 years old.
And I started when I was 8. And I'm 41. So.
How old
just
are you,
call
Tyler?
it-
I'm 38. So yeah.
Yeah, 30 years ago. At least.
So, and then she asked, she goes, were we neighbors? And I go, no, we were on different blocks. She's like, well, how did that?
Because that's a weird age gap, right? Like kids that with that age gap don't hang out together.
I was probably riding my bike by or he was riding his and we talked and it was
Yeah, he
just
was probably
a good
like,
old neighborhood
hey.
way to make friends.
That kid looks pretty awesome.
I bet he's really fun.
Exactly.
Just history after that.
Yeah. So there was a random story I was telling her the other day. I was like, I think Nelson might be my oldest friend. I mean, we've been friends since I've been 5 years old.
Yeah.
And then we were teenagers. It's still shocking we've grown up to be decent people.
It goes back to when your mom and dad were still together. Your mom had that blue Geo Metro. We'd go camping in the pop-up, get up with your dad and go load cattle in the morning and take them to the sale barn.
See, it does go old.
We're going
It
way
goes
back.
way back. Yes, absolutely. So then we, and through our teenage years, things got wild for, well, there's probably a 10-year span in there that it got probably a little more out of control than it needed to,
Yeah.
I guess.
I keep remembering a story when Big John and Little John,
Oh,
and your dad sent us down to Kansas City to get that W9 out of the junkyard.
okay.
And we had to go pick them two up because they wrecked the truck.
Okay, remember they laid that truck over. Okay, yes. Oh my God.
And then we
Okay.
found the truck,
Hold on.
but we needed a drive shaft.
Yep.
And that was in the trailer, and that was in a different junkyard. So the hunt was on. You were 14 or 15, and your dad sent us down there. And that was...
Yep. So he said they wrecked that truck, and it was in Kansas City. They had towed it to Kansas City, and we need to get it home. So Dad said, go pick up Big John and Little John, take them to Kansas City, have them pick up that wrecked truck, and let's get it home. So we go to Red Oak. Remember, we pick up the Johns.
Find them. Yep.
Yep. Little John's in the back seat smoking a non-filter Camel.
Drinking a gallon of water. He must have filled out of the creek.
And he takes his boot off, and he's ashen in his boot. Do you fucking remember that? Oh, fuck.
Who are these people?
So fucking-
Jeffy's guy.
Big John and Little John. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, Little John went with his dad, Big John, because Little John needed some help.
So Little John's Big John's son.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yep.
they laid a truck over in Auburn because I think they got into it with each other. And ended up, someone hit the steering wheel and laid it over. Right in town, wasn't it?
I know.
Right at the T intersection.
Oh, yeah. That was
Took that house out.
that's a different story. I mean, this is in Kansas City. Remember, we get to Kansas City, we go to get the truck. There's no drive shaft. There's no drive line. So we end up finding out where the drive line is. It's with the trailer and a different tow yard. So we run over there to pick up the drive shaft.
Trying to jump the fence.
Yeah. You remember Little John? He grabs that drive shaft and he throws it over his shoulder and carries it to the fucking pickup. And we're like, who is this fucking guy?
I think Little John had been up a few days.
Yeah, I think you're right. So
by now it's midnight.
Yeah, by now it's midnight and now it's late.
And the day started at 8, 6.
Man. But Old John was
He was a good guy.
Old John was a good guy. His kid, Little John, rode with him. I think just because Old Man John.
Keep an eye on him this way.
Well, the old man John was just old, and he needed just a little bit of help. He could drive. He didn't move quite fast enough to haul livestock anymore. But another story about the Johns. Do you remember? You're absolutely right. They got in a fist fight going through Auburn.
Yes.
And they crashed that truck into that house.
Well, I think Little John worked for your dad for 50 years.
I'm glad
and then on the way home, I was sleeping in the back seat.
Oh, yeah.
You hit road construction on 35.
I fell asleep.
Woke up to the orange barrel sitting in the truck.
That's right.
14 years old.
I fell asleep driving the pickup through the road construction and ran over all them big fucking barrels.
So, Ryan, were you sent on this mission just to drive? Smoke
No,
around?
I probably volunteered and said I'd drive halfway, and I never did. I always napped, whatever, but where he was, I was.
Oh,
it was just how it was.
Man, I kind of I forgot about the Little John stories.
Oh, boy.
I forgot all about that. See, even Nelson got in on Dad's adventures.
Oh, Jeff.
Well, if Jeff knew you, he was not scared to ask a favor.
No, he was not.
This doesn't shock me. Well, he asked you to watch the cows one time.
When Jeff was in Arizona for the winter.
And I was in charge of chores for
Yes.
the whole winter.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Where were you, Tyler? You had been gone, like maybe you were just on the road that week, but you had just came home with a brand new pair of cowboy boots. 2 pairs, I believe.
I don't fucking
But
know.
one was your really good pair.
I
You
remember.
happened to have them on.
He
that
actually was not watching. I mean, he was watching them run out the gate is what he was
day.
doing.
Yeah, but he had been watching them like all week.
And everything went just
Couple
fine
weeks.
every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But Jeff and whoever was
Yep.
sitting up in the shop,
I remember it was me, my dad, Jim Duphite.
Jim Duphite, sitting in the
Yep.
shop, and I was just down there finishing up, scraping pens. I think he had 2 pens worth out of the 3. So I'd just bounce them pen to pen to pen. Well, pen 3 had 2 gates in it. Well, I forgot to shut one of the gates of pen 3. So I moseyed around the side of the feed shed and up around the pile, and I came around, and every single one of them was standing on the hill next to the shop looking at me laughing. And I walked up, got in the shop, and I said,
We got a
guys,
problem.
we got a problem.
Remember?
Oh, what's that? What's going on? Hey, Jeff, nice to see you. Welcome back. All your cows are out, standing along the building.
I remember you called me and you were like, I fucked up. I fucked up. I'm like, what's going on? You know, I didn't did you roll a tractor? What happened? I let every fucking cow out. I'm like, oh no. And it was so foggy. You were
bad.
so worried that someone was going to hit
Because
one.
we got them all back in but 2.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't hardly sleep that night because I was afraid someone was going to hit one and get killed. And then we came back out the next day, and it was Buck Lou and me, and I can't
I
remember
think
who
Mark
else.
Tom's is
And we
out
could
here.
see them. He
Yep.
said, there they are right down there. So we went down, and I think one made it back, one went in the creek, and it got shot.
And then you
So,
went to Hy-Vee and you
got
bought a
a-
whole cart full of beer.
However many cases of beer you can fit in a grocery
But
cart.
Tyler, so that's where I was going at with the boots. You were like, you that night must have been out walking, trying to get the cows in.
Because a bunch of them went north. and we.
But do you
tried to get 'em
remember?
back.
You had on your brand new boots, and you must have got them wet because it was foggy, cold, rainy. You must have taken your boots off and then went to go put them on the next day, and they shrunk. And you literally, and I want to say maybe that was when gout was like first beginning, so you weren't
Come on,
really.
do we have to?
Well, sorry.
I feel like this is like.
I'm like, well, we can just buy you a new pair of boots too. But I think you had bought 2 at that time, so you're like, well, I guess my brand new ones are.
I do.
They work ones now.
Now I do.
So I do still have a sign hanging in the dining room at home. Live like you left the gate wide open.
Then I did.
Yep, we still do.
Oh, man.
God.
And then, so then we just kept getting older. And even in high school, remember all the Jackass? That's when Jackass was big. Like the movies, Jackass. Oh, we did all that Jackass shit. And one particular Jackass memory I look back on that I feel really bad about today.
I wonder if this is the one I know about. Okay, go on.
When we put that baby.
Yep,
on top of the
I
car.
was going to say.
Yep, when we put that car seat.
And went in front of Fairway. And Nancy Snyder was chasing us. You see her through the windows running.
Okay, my little sisters were not that old at this time. So we still had their infant car seats. We took their infant car seat and a doll. And
put it in there, wrapped a blanket around it.
Strapped it in.
Sat it on top of the car like we forgot it.
So we walk out of the grocery store. We're holding this car seat so people see us. We set the car seat.
16 years old with a baby.
16 years old.
Carload of boys.
We set this car seat on top of the car while we're getting in. You know, act like we're getting in. We put our groceries in, set the car seat, and we jump in the car and we take off. Yeah.
And people would take off chasing. We'd hit the brakes like, what's going on? And then the baby'd fly off the front of the car. We'd load it up and take off.
I a little bit regret that. That
now as a parent, it's not as funny
not
as it was
near
at 16
as
years old. But then we went by Kemper and they were having a Catholic retreat, and that's when the cops got involved. That was the end of that.
Oh, no. Wait, how many times did you do this? This was
100?
Yeah, I was not just one time.
No.
Oh my God.
No.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what a field day all of the Facebook Karens would have with you?
Oh, boy, right?
We didn't have camera phones. We didn't have text messaging. We had nothing.
We didn't.
There wasn't even security cameras on businesses.
That's right.
There was no proof.
Well, you guys probably didn't even have cell phones, did you?
We had
flip
phones, but they didn't have caller ID. They didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
No cameras.
Hold on. Remember that Des Moines trip? We had my blue pickup. Okay. And in that blue pickup, I had a screen.
Yeah.
And we put a DVD player under the seat. So it had a bench front seat so we could sit 3 wide up front. There was back seat, and there was no sense of using the back seat if we could fit 3 wide up front. Remember, we went to Des Moines. I don't remember what the fuck we went for. Don't even matter. But remember, we had to stop in somewhere, and it'd be my little sister's aunt, and pick something up from them. And I remember we got there, and we opened the door, and fucking beer cans fell out on the ground. She's like, oh my. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Then we built that cooler out of a sub box
cooler.
Because we couldn't hide a cooler in there if we got pulled over. So we built a sub box that looked like, a sub box, but if you popped the lid off, it was a cooler inside.
It was a cooler. So
you never knew.
Nope. We built a box, had a sub on top of it, and we
cut the magnet off the bottom.
Yep. And we still put screws in
it, so it looked like it was
and then
shut.
We cut the bottom of the screws. Oh. And then remember, we put styrofoam.
We had fake wires running out the side of it, even. We just cut it right out of the back seat.
And then all you had to do is you lifted the sub off, and it was a cooler.
I mean, did the cops even care back then, though? Right. Or was it just for
He was only 15. I mean,
right?
we were already in trouble before we were in trouble if we got stopped.
No shit. Yeah, no fucking God.
Not much has changed.
No, same thing.
I'm really glad you guys started channeling this energy for good. For the most part.
Yeah. Well, that's what I always tell everybody. I don't hardly drink anymore. And if we go out, like, it's if I have 3 or 4 beers, I'm like, I'm done. Like, very seldom do we go out and I just really get after it. Like, I don't even go home anymore and have one at night.
It's been 15 years for me. So,
well, congratulations.
Yeah.
But I always tell her, I always say, I think I burnt myself out.
Well, that's when I quit. My mom said, what's it going to take to get you to stop? And I said, when I find something that requires me to drink that I haven't already done, I'll start again. Well, 15 years, haven't found that.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. People always talk about the trouble or the things they did in high school, and you're like, yeah, I don't actually want to tell you about it. I don't know. I think that's why I don't drink much anymore, because I went pro early and retired.
Yep.
I mean, but that is the part of the point behind this podcast too, is like, we all were nothings really. Like, we should not be here.
No, not at all.
Really. And now
look at you.
Now look at us. Yeah. So did you ever go off to school anywhere?
No, I was at college every weekend.
Yeah.
But I was not signed up for any classes during the week. I got the same degree as all my friends did. Mine just didn't cost me anything.
So were you back here helping your dad?
So I went after school. I probably worked for Dad a little bit. And then when I was 20, I moved to Myrtle Beach. Here's a whole nother line of stories. That was for an extended friend visit turned into 3 months.
That's right.
You came to visit, didn't you?
I
Yes.
went to Myrtle.
Okay.
And that's when I came back that next weekend. 4th of July.
I don't remember.
Yes.
Gotcha.
The fireworks wars.
Oh, in the hallway.
Yes.
I do remember.
So after I got back from Myrtle Beach.
Oh, so did you go to Myrtle Beach to visit Greenwell?
To visit Greenwell.
Okay. And then you just ended up staying there.
Yes, basically.
And you were a hostess
at NASCAR Cafe.
at a NASCAR.
Yep.
That was your job.
That was my job. And then when you guys came down to see me, that was when I just walked out the front door with you, and that was my last day of work.
That's right. we went to where he was working, went there, he sat us, we ate, and we got up to leave, and he just followed us
right out
the door. Never went back.
No, partied for a week.
And then we
back,
spent
that was it.
That 3 or 4 days, and we just spent 3 or 4 days drinking.
Yeah.
You remember you drank so much down there?
I killed a bush.
Yep, that's where I was going with
I
this.
pissed on the same bush every night so many times it killed it. And it was a 5-foot tall bush. It was healthy.
That's where I was going with this. So I remember, so when we come to visit you then, we got in them fireworks wars in the hallway.
Yes.
And then we sprayed the fucking fire extinguishers.
And the fire alarms went off.
And the fire alarms.
So we had Myrtle Beach Fire Department looking for some people.
So I remember the next morning,
We got kicked out.
We got kicked out.
Yep.
So then we ended up moving, yeah.
Yep. Then we went and got a rental truck, went down the road, got another apartment.
Yeah.
And that's where Steve-O was staying. He was in town.
Who?
Like
Steve-O,
from
Jackass Steve-O.
Oh.
Yeah, he was 2 doors down from us.
Yeah, so we went to visit and ended up moving, yeah.
Yep.
Got kicked
That
out.
was it. But all I had was a bag. So I didn't take much to move me. No, my eyes are watering.
What a deal.
So then I came back, and then I was going to get on a wheat run. I wanted to go farming.
I remember that. Remember you made it
Hopped
to the
in my
door.
Cadillac, made it out in Nebraska somewhere, hit something on the highway, broke fuel line, something else. So I got pissed. I turned around. I came back. And then it wasn't but probably, I don't know, if I went back and helped Dad for a little bit, and I was driving down the road and I seen Mark and Justin combining. So I stopped in to say hi. And 10 years later, I left farming.
So you stayed and helped Justin farm
For 10 years.
for 10 years.
Yep.
He put up with a lot of your bullshit for 10 years.
10 years worth of it. But it must not have been too bad because he kept me for 10 years.
And housed you.
He housed me. He gave me a pickup, gave me a cell phone. The only bill I had was my TV. So then when that was done, I needed to get a hip replaced.
Oh.
And I didn't have insurance. I didn't have anything. I was kind of tired of farming. I wanted more in life. So I got my hip replaced, moved back in with my mom and dad through that winter.
Wait, how old were you when you had a hip replacement?
28.
Okay.
Youngest one Carroll Hospital's ever done.
Gotcha.
It was gone, and they don't know why. So after that, then I went to help Dad pour concrete, so I didn't know what else to do. I needed a house, needed a car, needed everything. That didn't go very good, because my mom was now my boss.
Oh.
And that's when me and Ryan kind of had got together. They got me a camper. I was living in a camper for the summer.
Where?
Got pissed one day.
Next to the railroad tracks.
The railroad tracks for a while.
It was so cold. Oh my gosh, remember?
And then out of Swan Lake. And then we moved south of town to Dave Huffman's. And not long after that, I got mad at Dad, just whatever. We're best friends, but we can't work together. And when Mom's my boss, that does not work at all. I came home, told her I quit. We're going on our own. I didn't have $5 to my name.
Now, just so everybody knows, he was working for his dad. His dad pours cement.
Yes. Was a home builder for many years. Turned straight concrete after the housing market fell out.
Yep. And this is one of my favorite stories of how people began. They always said, Nelson came home. He tells Ryan, I quit my dad. We're going on our own. She goes, what do you mean you quit? I had to borrow you $20 this morning.
And we don't even own a shovel. Like, we are not starting a concrete business.
So from there, about a month prior to this, we went to Des Moines and bought a jackhammer for my dad. Meet two ladies at this house that has abandoned stickers or no trespassing, whatever all over it. But we go to the back shed, buy this jackhammer. Supposedly her husband passed away. I used to have a concrete business. Anyway, she gets a hold of me through text messaging. Wonders if I'd be interested in pouring any concrete down at this house. I'm thinking, what do I got to lose, So I go rent a skid loader, a trailer, head down there. Never did see him yet. They put it all through text messaging what we were supposed to do. The patio, the basketball court, this and that. Not once have I seen her since the day I buy this jackhammer. Get about halfway through and I ask if I can get some money. She says, yep, not a problem. It'll be in the second drawer down in the kitchen. The code to get in is this. There'll be a check in there tomorrow. So I go over there, check, sure shit, it's in there. I look at it. It's from Donald F. Lamberti Revocable Trust. So I Google this name, and it's the founder of Casey's.
Oh.
This is the granddaughter of the founder of Casey's. It's my first job.
Casey's General Store.
I wasn't too worried about getting a second check, and it was on from there.
So did you ever do any work for Casey's then?
Yes, we have. We went out to South Dakota. We've done some at Carroll, some at Fonda, but nothing through that connection at all. This was a whole different way of getting in with them.
Oh. So when did you decide, this is real, we're going to start Concrete Creators?
Probably kind of that. And then you called me one day and needed to get a hold of a guy about a grain bin. It wouldn't answer your phone calls, but you knew he'd answer mine. So I call him, get a hold of him. That leads to him asking what I'm up to. I said, I don't know, pouring concrete, this and that. He wonders if I'll pour some grain bin pads for him in Sioux City. I already don't trust the guy, but I have nothing to lose and I have nothing to do. So off we go. He ends up needing walls poured. Well, I don't pour walls. So I get hooked up with some other guys that used to work for my dad that pour walls when I get back to town. From there, that leads me to a guy I'd met 10 years prior, riding four-wheelers on my, 21st birthday. He asked me what I've been up to. I said, I really don't know. I'm pouring concrete. Do you have any work? Which then that led to him calling me that night with his brother on a three-way, wondering if I had a skid loader. Well, at that time, I didn't. I just had one rented. I said, what do you need? What do you want? This and that. He had a bunch of cattle pens to scrape. So the next day, I went and got a skid loader. Started scraping pens, and then the other brother called back and had some concrete he wanted poured. And then that led to just
crazy.
Kept going. Luckily, I've known a lot of people, the right people, And they've gave me a chance. And
Did you ever pour them grain bin?
nope, never did get $1 from the guy that technically kind of got me started.
But you went up there.
I went up there a few days, but I was
yeah.
just scared because I didn't trust him. And I couldn't I didn't have no money to lose, but I didn't want to go negative before we even started.
What is this grain bin story?
It all started, he needed vents put on these bins out here.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't working.
Well, there was no venting.
Or, he never put any in. He put a new roof on it, never put vents in the roof at the time.
Yes.
That's where it all started.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
I did.
Bob noticed it didn't have any vents.
I had wind damage.
Yep.
And they
fixed them.
I had an insurance claim, and we put a new roof on.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right. But he never put no fucking vents in it. And and he wasn't answering my fucking phone call.
I called him, hey, what's going on? Hey, buddy, old pal, you got to put some roof vents in on smokes. Oh, yeah, all right, I'll be out there tomorrow.
Did he ever show?
Oh, hell yeah, he did.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
That was before you even had the big shop. What year was that? Was the big shop?
We built that in 15. Spent 10 years. It'll be 10 years in September.
How much was that thing? Back then,
about $450,000,
cheap.
and I mean that was like tire racking.
What would it be today? You think?
Oh, fuck, $1 million
well
bucks
over
wouldn't
$1 million.
touch it.
I don't think million. I don't think you're right. I don't think
100 by 100. I just priced him, and that's no pit. That's no absolutely fucking nothing. That's $134,000 in concrete. You haven't built shit.
And we put 15 feet of dirt.
Oh, buck hauled and hauled.
I mean, we got these right now. I mean, we got a couple $100,000 in dirt.
Yeah.
I remember when they were building it is when Rye and I did our first wall job ever, where the runoff is, where the cows are.
Oh.
And, oh, God, we fucked around for days
trying
to build 1-foot walls. And so we get them all done, said and done with, stripped, everything. Your dad calls. Hey, I can't fit the skid loader bucket in that one. We're like, oh, my God, we were so out of square. We had no idea what we were doing.
I had no idea.
No clue. I'm like, okay, well, we'll come back out and fix it. What'd you do? Cut it off? What'd you do?
Jeff told us pour walls. We poured them walls.
Yeah. Every time Jeff would call, we'd be like, oh,
there
boy.
we go.
You always had some ideas, no doubt about it. But
Yeah.
then you poured our little washout.
The guys I went to after Pat, then I had them pour your walls because we still didn't have, we didn't do no walls. And then that spring came around, one of them, I think 7-8 years ago now. You guys were talking, Bowman was building his washout. And I didn't own a single wall for him, never knew anything about him. And I went down and I bought $40,000 worth of wall forms, and we were wall pourers after that.
I remember he had you give him an estimate, and he had somebody else give him an estimate. And I remember he called me and he said, hey, Nelson's within $4,000.
But he'll start right now.
Right.
Something, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I called him and I was like, listen, you're within $4,000, but I think you got to do it like start this week. And he's like, oh,
yeah, we did. My forms aren't here yet, but we'll start.
We'll make it happen. Right.
We'll go hang out there so it looks like we're doing something.
Well, then I really felt guilty because that is when, so I showed up. I had a brand new pickup. It was the first brand new pickup I ever bought. I had just traded enclosed trailers. I had a brand new enclosed trailer. I just had $40,000 worth of brand new wall forms. It'd show up on a job with all brand new stuff, brand new skid loader. And the look in their eyes is just like, has this guy ever done a damn thing in his life? Everything's new. There's not a speck of concrete on anything, and I'm cutting him loose. And it turned out perfect. Everything worked. There's a few hiccups, but it did work out.
And then we built my fuel.
Yeah, that was where we didn't know anything. We had blowouts there.
Yeah,
that's
the walls blew out on that deal. And then I remember we got that 8,000 gallon tank.
Me and Cody lifted with the crane.
Yeah,
he wanted to try it.
It's like Codell's got this little crane.
I thought you hired a crane, like more.
We ended up,
but he tried it with Cody's little crane. And he gets lifted up, and the front of the truck
was off the ground. We could lift the weight of it, but we forgot that once you extend it, you don't have the same lifting capability.
First job I ever did was where the hay bales sit on that pad back there. You and I, remember?
Oh, next to the semi-trailers with the tires in them.
That was a lot of years ago. 12.
That was another one of Jeff's ideas.
Well, he had a lot of those. Ryan, how did you get started pouring concrete or working with Ryan?
I don't really know.
Well, your dad was in.
Yeah, my dad did construction my whole life. But I did hair at the time, and I remember...
Jace was born in insurance.
Jace was born, didn't have insurance. I worked at the school, hated it. I just bawled every day.
What'd you do at the school?
I was a bus driver and a TA.
That's right, you were a bus driver.
Yep.
All for insurance.
Yeah.
And then she hadn't worked there long enough from when he was born to where once he was, and after the first year, they wanted us to pay back for the time she had off.
I was going to work all month long and get my monthly paycheck, but have to pay the school because insurance cost more than my paycheck was.
Her paychecks were like $8 a month is all by the time they took insurance out for the family plan. But then she didn't have enough hours that the next year was going to cost her to go to work.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, forget it.
And I just kept begging him. And then came home from Frisco and I saw we had a letter in the mail. So I read it to him or whatever. And I'm like, this is what the letter says. He's like, you're done. You're done today. I'm like, yes. And then from there on, I'm like, oh, thank you. And I love it. I love to pour concrete. We're a good team. We're always just on the same page and can hustle it out.
And you like to burn heaters.
I do.
That's why you're
I
both
need to lay off of them.
You're both on the same page of multiple heater
We really
breaks.
are. Yep.
That's why.
Let's just have a smoke and think about it.
Yep, famous words. Just
like we just had a smoke and thought about it 5 minutes ago. I know, but let's just have another one. Things are going too good. Things
are going too good. Oh, man. That is good. You got to have somebody good to work with. So, well, yeah, because you owned a hair salon in there somewhere.
Yep. That was for a few years before I had Jace. And then...
Where'd you guys live when you had Jace? Were you still south of town?
He was built south of town, born north of town.
Okay. Gotcha. Yep. 10-4.
I think he might have been built in Vegas.
Yeah, I think he was. But we were
that's besides
south of town.
Built south of town. I like it.
Yeah, so that's when we finally made enough money and we were going to have our first son. And we decided it's time to buy a house.
10-4. Perfect.
Yeah, so where'd you go from the camper? At what point did you...
It was becoming winter time, and it was time to start thinking about winter.
We stayed in the camper for one season. Like it was July. We moved into Huffman's in July.
Just an old farmhouse, but it was perfect. $300 a month rent.
It was perfect.
Is that all Dave charged you? It was
$300
a month.
Yeah, don't tell anyone, but that's it.
I think our propane was like $700 a month.
Well, we didn't have any money that first winter.
No.
Not a lot. So you actually stretched one full tank through the whole winter by turning the heat down every day we left. And then it wouldn't warm up till 9 o'clock at night when we got home.
It didn't matter.
But we made it one tank on an old farmhouse.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
The upstairs would get so cold. We had one of them bed in a box, the memory foam, and it would freeze rock solid upstairs.
Like, I remember one time I just, crawled into bed like a normal person does, and it knocked the wind out of me because it was so hard. Like, I just flopped on awkwardly, and we would rock, paper, scissors to see who was going to go upstairs and turn the furnace on or who was going to go up and turn the air on, depending on what time of the year, yeah.
I mean, that's why we had to get out of this place.
Yeah, same thing here, yep.
But you just work with it. It's what you got. It's not the end of the world.
Well, yeah, when it was really extreme, Ridge slept in the living room. It was fine.
Exactly, yep. Back in the day, geez, people never had heat, air, anything.
Well, right.
They all took the same bathtub water.
Yeah, my mom and dad talked about living in the trailer park when they first moved there. And Dad came home in the summer. They didn't have air conditioning at all, but had heat stroke from work. And he's laying on the couch in a 100-some degree trailer house with a blanket on himself, shivering. It's just what you did.
Yeah.
Just what you did.
Yeah, so you guys moved north of town. You've done a lot of work up there, too.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
Remember the camper Dad bought?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The motorhome?
Yeah, it sat out there.
I can still smell it. I can still smell the inside of that camper. I had to sleep with my shirt up over my nose that night in Lakeview. Oh my gosh.
Wait, did you sleep in it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Rye, Jason, and I. Yeah, we took it up to Lakeview. Jeff's like, help yourselves. We're like, oh, this is great. So we get in it. I cleaned everything. I don't even know how many of those like deodorizer bombs that you can put in view. I don't know how many we went through of those, but the smell, it was like woven in that fabric. Oh, it was terrible.
I think I resold that thing. I think it went to the Carroll Sale Barn.
That RV did.
Is where I sold that.
But is that the same one we took down to Coon Rapids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants
was at
me to
same
drive.
No
with
license.
No license.
Hadn't had one
with
for
sheriff's
18 years.
kids in there with us, up on top, above the cab in the bed, looking out the front window. And we get south of Glennon, and I'm looking ahead. We're cruising along. Everyone's drinking, and all of a sudden there's cherries coming straight for me. This state patrolman. And he gets to it, and he shuts them off. I said, Jeff, you just said there's a cop. He's going to pull us over. He goes, I already called him and told him it was us. Like, you son of a bitch. He knew it was us. I got sheriff kids above me. I got a state patrol turning his lights on. I have no license. You guys are all drinking. And you never said nothing. Oh, we'll be fine. We'll be all right. So the fair we went. They continued to drink, and we drove home.
So then in the winters, you push snow, did you?
Used to. No longer.
Right.
I can't deal with the people anymore. People don't understand that you can put snow boots on and go to work, and you'll be just fine. Everyone thinks everything has to be cut down to dry concrete every minute of the day, and it's just became too much. It's not worth it. So I miss it. I did it since I was probably 8 or 9 years old. Dad had me in a loader, and I loved every minute of it. But I just cannot take it anymore. It's not what it used to be.
Well,
and it doesn't snow like it used to snow.
No, if they get it pushed a couple times a year.
Yeah. But here in the next couple of years, when my son gets older, we're going to start back up, and he's going to learn how to do it. Because there is good money in it.
Is there?
Oh, yeah. It pays. But we also have the equipment that we use during the summer that we can use in the winter. So technically, we kind of have free equipment. We don't, but we do.
Right. And you quit that.
Quit that.
In the
Quit
winter.
hauling shipping containers. Got out of that business.
That's right.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
so
just couldn't keep up with it anymore. I had just too much stuff going on.
Yeah, because you guys do you remember you brought a container down when I still had my apartment in Omaha? And we moved all my stuff back when I was like 8 months pregnant. And that container sat here at the farm until we moved to our new house. That actually worked out really well.
Yeah, you did. You bought a big 40-foot.
But how'd that deal even get started?
The same guy that got me started in concrete called one day and asked if I had a trailer that I could haul shipping containers on. And this was right before Christmas. I said, no, I don't, but give me an hour and I'll let you know. So we head out to Haley's after this phone call. Within like 15 minutes, I walk in the door.
Did you mention we had no money? Did you mention that?
Nope. No, we didn't have any at the time.
Okay.
Not enough to buy a trailer.
Here we go again. Yep.
And I walked in. I said, please tell me you don't have a 40-foot gooseneck. And they said, matter of fact, we do. You want to buy it? I said, how much? I think it's like $10,000 at the time. I said, I'll take it, but I'm not paying you until after the first of the year. Yeah, that's not a problem, but I'm not giving you a title. I said, well, I don't care. Whatever. So I get back on the phone and I call the guy back.
Free
I said,
rent.
I've got a trailer.
But I think you said like we need it right now. Like we're coming.
I said, we're going to hook it up right now. I said, I'm going to Omaha. And so I call him back and I tell him I got a trailer. What do you got? I still hadn't even got the information on what I was really doing, but now I've got a trailer, so we're going trucking. He said, I got 20-foot shipping containers in Omaha I need hauled back. I said, okay. So off I went. Then it went idle. Never heard nothing else. Trailer sits. And
So you got all 20 of them back.
Got 20 back. Haul 2 at a time. You can make 2 rounds a day because they're only open 8 to 5. So that's the most you can do. So it went on a couple more months, and he got them all rented out. And then that turned into buying 10 more. 10 more, 20 more. And I don't know how long I did it, 6 years, 7 years, and probably hauled 2,000 of them things. And now it's a all-out, full-on business for 3 guys. That's all they do every day. They're basically nationwide.
Every day drive to Kansas City with a gooseneck and
bounce up and down
See,
Highway 7, kiss my ass.
I mean,
I'm the guy that if I have forehead in Denison, I'm taking my semi.
yeah, fuck that.
yeah.
Unless, well, I mean, now it's a little different because, like, if I take the boys with me,
Well, yeah.
then I'll take. But if
See, I could never get a commitment out of him. I always wanted to buy a container trailer. I wanted to buy a straight truck with a fucking sleeper on it. So if I went to Kansas City, I'd sleep in the truck. I'd leave at night after kids go to bed, drive down there, get up. They open at 8. I can make 1 round a day. That's it. You cannot turn and burn, no matter how you do it. But he would never commit to nothing. And I'm not going to get stuck with a container trailer that's $50,000, a $50,000 little tractor, and all of a sudden it all falls out from under me. So I just used my pickup with a regular gooseneck that I knew I could always use for something else. But boy, I paid the price beating down the highway.
Man, I mean, beat yourself. How the fuck do them guys?
I don't know. I don't care if you got an air ride hitch up front, you got bags on the trailer, you're loaded, you're empty, you get beat to shit.
The hotshot guys just...
Oh, and I felt like an idiot. Luckily, I didn't have DOT numbers. I didn't have, I flew under the radar as basically a farmer. But I was always embarrassed as hell hauling them things around because you go by you guys going down the road or I pass you or you pass me and I always just thought, you're looking down like, you stupid fucking hot shot hauler, get out of my way. They're like, no, I'm doing this for a whole different reason. I'm doing it for a guy I pour concrete for. I'm not one of you. I'm not one of these guys. No, I hated it, but it made me a lot of money. It really did. We'd bill him like every 6 months, so when you got a check, you got a big check. Then we were billing him once a year. And then I get a check for might be $30,000, $40,000. It was, granted, I'd already paid for the fuel.
Right. That's like a good savings.
It is.
Yeah.
I got a few of them around in different things.
Yeah.
When I drive for Woody.
Yep.
I don't get paid, but I also have credit at Dries and Sparky's every month. So I just don't get a bill. I miss out on the write-off, but at the same time, it is what it is.
Yeah.
If we could make it float that we didn't give bill till November 1st, that's why we survived through the winter. If it didn't snow, there was zero income coming in from the day frost hits the ground till it unthaws.
Yep.
So to say, year after year after year, and it got better. We didn't have huge payments like we did at the beginning, but now it's like, okay, I feel like we can finally breathe. We have another business that, we're making money every day of the year now, or we can.
Right.
Ultimately.
Yeah. Especially with as little, even if you were pushing snow yet, it was minimal.
Yeah.
We just don't get the snowstorms.
No, and it doesn't start until January. And then if it is January, you don't really get paid till middle of February. Well, by then, you only got a month to survive, and then it's concrete season. So, but then come springtime, once you're pouring concrete, all of a sudden you get these random snow checks in the mail, and then we're considered bonuses.
Yeah.
You forgot about them.
You remember that one winter when we went to Cattleman's and you had a it wasn't even a broke down truck. It was a guy that said he was parking because it was too bad he couldn't see. And you were like,
you pussy.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. And you left Cattleman's. You left me. And it was that blizzard. And we stayed.
Worst one we had in 10 years. At least.
Hold on. Where did you? But we brought you home?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thought he was going to take off and go up to Early.
I remember
and get
that,
his
yeah.
truck. But I was riding it in this blizzard.
I left thinking I was going to go drive this truck. I was like, you pussy.
Well, literally, remember we had just been outside smoking a cig an hour prior to this. And it was sunny out.
I remember I left and I started driving down the road and I was like, I think I'm just going to drive home. Be happy I make it.
And we stayed and you were calling. You're like, you guys should probably get on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got home. We got you home.
Yeah.
And then we made it 15 miles north, barely. So what do? Decide I'm going to bring my babysitter to town because, hell, I've been everywhere else. We'll get there. I didn't. Well, she was going to follow in their car. I made it half a mile, and there I sat for 3 days.
I don't think it's snowed that bad since then.
No, it hasn't.
That was crazy.
That was a snowstorm.
Yeah.
That's a snowstorm we don't get anymore. Definitely.
That was a good night.
That was.
Now I'm antisocial and
We don't got to worry about that anymore.
And we don't have friends, so we don't do much either. Go to work,
Yep.
hang out at home. I don't even really feel like calling people anymore, Like, I would think having an hour drive to work and an hour drive home that I would be, like, wanting to call and shoot the shit with people. I don't even...
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the same reason I drive in silence.
Yeah.
Don't even turn the radio
I've been
on.
noticing I do that more and more. It's starting to scare me because Justin used to, and some other
And then
people
I think to myself, like, what was I just thinking about for the last 20 miles with nothing going on? You can't even remember what you're
Nothing.
thinking about.
I wasn't thinking about it. Well,
Right.
I was thinking about everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
But what does trucking do for you?
As far as...
Like going to Omaha for your mind. Is that good?
I love it. Yep.
Do you shut your phone off? Or no,
no,
it's just a different way of talking on it, looking out the window than looking at the wall?
I love it. But even though I'm only gone from, typically most days when you go to Omaha, you're back by noon.
Yeah.
But it's just like you're out of the office for a half a day and it just feels like it has put you a whole day behind.
Yes.
Really?
It does for me because I'm best sitting at my desk, got my schedule spread out, got everything spread out, and I'm staring at it to place people. And then you're running miles, and then I'll text somebody and be like, hey, head this way. Then 3 minutes later, I'll be like, wait, don't leave yet. I think I might switch this. But if I'm on the road, I can't think about that.
Yep.
Driving down the road.
I didn't know if you enjoyed still going a little bit or not.
Oh, every ounce of me.
Yeah. This is as long as it's been since I've went trucking, and I kind of miss it, but it'll come back this winter.
Think about all the things we've thought about buying that I'm glad we didn't.
Oh, God. I thought about it for 10 years. The last 10 years, every day, there's something.
Right.
Some things have worked out really good, others, but I've never really technically lost. Nothing has ever broke me in any department, I guess. Like the concrete. Our prices, we do make good money. But there should be enough there that if you absolutely had to tear it all out, start all over, you've got enough profit to cover any of your material and labor. So, just don't do it more than once. You might need some labor, but at least your material and all that will be covered.
Have you got into any deals where you've had to tear it
Oh, absolutely.
back out?
But not necessarily by what the customer wants, but for my own pride.
Oh,
I'm not happy. And it hasn't been anything big, but yes, there definitely has been a few things.
Oh, man.
I always say we're not like...
Apparently, you have forgotten about the biggest one that we had to... Well, we didn't have to rip it out, I guess.
No, we never had to tear it out. We just had to get in a fight with
stressful.
concrete plant a little bit.
Company. I remember brought in people to test it.
Yeah. I always said to take it to a mad concrete scientist. And they break it apart, tell you what's in it, why it did this, why it did that.
I remember one fall, I was loading up in Montana. And we're up at this fucking ranch and we're loading. And there's this guy, he's got his fucking shiny ass cowboy boots on, his pressed jeans, he's got a vest on. He comes over, we're shooting the shit. And, where are you from? I was like, from Carroll, Iowa. And he's like, used to have a concrete place in Carroll. I was like, oh, did you? Yep. Okay. What was it? He's like, American. I go, you used to own American Concrete. Yep. Now I own a ranch. It's like, wow. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, there's money in it.
Yep.
And there's a lot of money in it if you own the quarries to get the gravel and sand and rock out of.
Oh,
that's the kicker.
Yep.
That's how you get ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eliminate the middleman.
You'll never remember everybody you met, but the frickin' random people that you meet along the way that somehow you have a connection with more people than you would, you know.
Yeah.
And not that me and that guy had a connection, but it was, he's like, I used to own a concrete plant. And Carol is like, he's used to own American. Now I own a ranch. We got a buddy in the concrete business and he just started it. Anyway, they bought their own little concrete plant to build their own pitted barn. And then a couple years goes by and he decides, you know what, I'm going to start a concrete business. And this is probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm talking to him and I was like, you all right? And he's like, I'll tell you about it someday over beer. Concrete business ain't all it's cut out to be. So I feel like there must be a lot of shit that fucks up.
Well, you just have so much liability, and it's whether you stand behind it or you don't. If you do, we'll continue to buy from you. If you don't, we're done. We'll move on to the next one.
Because it's all in your mix.
It's all in your mix. And how you mix it, I have no idea what goes into the actual science of it, but it's very important.
So time goes on, and all of a sudden one day, driving down the road, and how did you spot Jefferson Monuments, do you think? Were you scrolling through Facebook, or did you see it?
No, I was driving down the road, and there was like one of those big yard for sale signs. And I'm thinking, okay, is the building for sale there? Are they selling those monuments? Like, I didn't even bring it up. He was sleeping. Didn't even bring it up to him. Then the next day, I said something, and he's like, well, let's go take a look. And so we went over there and walked through, met with the Sloans, and before we knew it, we knew that's what we were after.
And this is a recent venture.
Yeah, so this is a recent venture.
Yep.
Just a little, now they own a place called Jefferson Monuments in Jefferson, Iowa.
People are just dying to do business with them. We had to push this podcast recording back a few hours.
Yeah.
Just so busy.
Yep. 79-year-old business. We bought it from the family that had started it. And they are sticking around, helping us learn the ropes, the ins and the outs of things.
We stopped by a few weeks ago to check it out. You're making some
I was
improvements.
super happy you guys came.
Yeah. But, I mean, I had no idea so much went into.
Me either. Like the first month I was there, I was just like, oh my God, what was I thinking? But I'm fallen into it, and it's good.
So you still pouring concrete?
I am. This is her thing over here. I give this her.
I got to retire, but I did pour one time this year so far.
Yep,
I don't get invited anymore. I was like fishing around Tuesday night for him to say like, yeah, you can come help. And he never did. So I just went home.
So we're going to continue to pour concrete. She can run that. I'll run this side of it. And everything will be good. Someday I'll venture my way over that way. But until then.
Well, like you had made the comment just not that long ago. You said, now we're just going to be a little more selective on the jobs that
pick and choose what I do and sub some stuff out.
We don't have to take them all.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what you were doing, a little pad over in Denison. And I stopped alongside the road. I was like, oh, there's Rye. Hold the brakes on the truck.
Sale barn day.
Yep. Threw the flashers on. Stopped in the middle of the road.
Yeah. No, it's just too hard to find help. And then the next problem is come wintertime and we have to lay everybody off. And we never really have had employees. I've just known enough guys that kind of day laborers that have worked out really well for us.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually hire 6 guys, find something for them to do all winter, lay them off, pay unemployment, hope they come back the next year, that's not for me.
No. We need to either be like really, really big or just what we are now. Like there's no in between. You just can't stay afloat, I feel.
But we have fucking found out the hard way. Bigger is not better.
Yep.
No.
I was just saying that the other day. I don't understand like how everybody can't just want to like do more every day or be a better every day. Like take someone's workload off of their plate, add it to your plate to just, do more when you're at work. I don't understand that aspect of things.
Or like just being on time. Like how does your conscience not let you even be late?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter anymore. That's like some jobs. It's no longer, I can't make it to your wedding. It's, hey, I can't work because I have to go to your wedding or I have to go to somebody's wedding. It's the tables have turned completely. You know, we've seen that on some things where it's like, well, yeah, but work really still comes first. Well, no, but I have a commitment here. It's like, but it's not really a commitment. It's just a want. And your want isn't what
that's a good
I
point.
want.
Or Rye, like when I would tell Rye, hey, I have to go do this on Tuesday, do you care? And then Tuesday would roll around, whatever you got to do. That's what it is. that means like, no, you better just stay at work and just cancel whatever you had planned for the day.
Oh, that happens here all the time. I'll leave in the middle of the day to go get a facial or something, and Smoke just rolls his eyes.
But I also think about there's people have no responsibilities. It's like, I answer my phone 7 fucking days a week, and it rings 20 out of 24 hours a day. Like,
every day. Every month, every year.
And I have to answer it every single time.
But like some people's attitude is like, well, that's your choice.
So is it worse?
And it is. But it's like, but you're missing the whole big picture of it all.
Is it worse for you to stay up for 2 days straight driving, let's say if you have to, or to come home after a long day, get to bed late, get woke up within an hour, try to go back to sleep, get woke up within another hour? It's just better to stay awake, isn't it?
Yeah, it was just last night.
When they all are mad that, it must be rough, at least you're laying at home in bed, it's like, yeah, but I'd almost rather be on the road driving.
Yeah, no.
I think woke up.
I sat at the kitchen table till 11 o'clock last night and did paperwork. And then my phone rang at 1:30 with a broke down.
Like you had to leave?
No.
No, but you had to deal with that.
Yeah, you still had to get up. Right.
It was still an hour in the middle of the night. And then my internal alarm clock just wakes me up at 5:30.
I don't know how you always hear your phone. That blows my mind.
Oh, I don't know. I asked her this morning. I go,
I could have, the loudest air horn next to my ear, and I just.
I asked her, I said, "Did you hear my phone?" "Oh, no, what happened?" She's like, "I don't know." And then she goes, "Ridge, if you ever get in trouble with the law and go to jail, you better call your dad and not your mom. If you call mom, you're spending the night."
That was like my dad. Remember my dad would come get us? He'd beat the cops to the party if we knew they were coming. I'd have my friends, they would call him if they went in the ditch. And I'd hear about the next day. Yeah, I had to go pull some of your friends out of the ditch last night. They wouldn't even call me. They just go ahead and call him direct.
Oh, I got a Keith story for everybody. Somebody got stuck in a snowbank.
Bose
gets stuck in a snowbank. Down by Templeton.
How old were you?
Oh, I don't know. We were in high school.
Okay.
We're in high school.
Cindy was gone.
We think we're fucking smart. We're going to go pull him out with Keith's pickup.
We had to go get it out of the garage.
So
at their house at 2 a.m.
He puts it in neutral. I push him out of the garage. Their driveway's on a hill. So he's in the driver's seat. He puts it in neutral. And I push him out of the garage. And it goes down the driveway. And there's always a bump. You go down the driveway, it goes, and then your house is on a hill too. So we just kept on rolling it all the way down the hill before we started the pickup. Thought we were real fucking sly.
Yeah, don't think they heard the garage door go up and down with that motor. Don't worry about that.
We're 16 and so smart. We're pushing the pickup out of the garage in neutral. So we go pull them out. Remember, we
didn't go pull them out. We went down to the shop to get the snowplow for the front of it because we were going to push our way down to it.
Oh.
So I pull up to hook the plow up, can't get it to raise. Well, I'd forgot. Dad always told me if you can't get it to go up and down, you crossed the plug in a little bit and it would pop the fuse. Well, we didn't know that. Well, we forgot to unplug it and backed out.
We tore the grill out.
Ripped half the grill out of it. So now we need plan B. We're not going to let the kid sit, so we got to get him out. So we decide we're going to go down and get a skid loader. So we find a trailer, get it hooked up. We go to load the skid loader up a little bit of a hill. Well, I probably couldn't see very good and had the booms up. Flip the skid loader over, stand it up on its back end, middle of the road, city street. Plan B shot. So we go back and unhook the trailer. Go down there the old-fashioned way, hook tow rope up, yank him right out. Next day, Dad calls me, said, got a little problem, don't we? I said, yeah, I think so. Well, how he found out is he was backing out of the driveway in his pickup. A guy in town stops him, says, hey, you'll never believe it, your skid loader's flipped up in the middle of the road. He says, yeah, whatever. So he turns the corner, because they only lived a few blocks from where they were building houses, and he sees his trailer's crooked in the street. So automatically he knew it was us, because we were the only ones that would have known where his trailer was. Turns the corner, sure as shit, skid loader standing straight up in the air. The guy has a payloader. He lets it down. As he's letting it down, Dad turns around to walk back and move his pickup, notices the grill's missing. Yeah. So it was a good night.
Did he tell your mom?
Oh, yeah. There's really wasn't much hiding anything. It just was what it was.
Oh, hold on. Let's go back. Let's tell the story about when your mom was gone on vacation. We went and bought you a new Ford Ranger.
Yeah, that's a good story.
So Mom goes out to Chicago to see my sister at college, and I could talk Dad into anything. I wouldn't say I was spoiled, but I kind of was. And I need something to haul my dirt bikes in, so we go out to Woodhouse, and we're looking for a used pickup. We end up buying a brand new Ford Ranger. Bring it back. First thing I do is go get all my buddies, and we head out road tripping. Then we ended up going to Cedar Rapids to see your sister Katie, because they were moving to college. And I think that led us over to Daisy Dukes or whatever dancing bars in Davenport. And from there, it was back to Carroll. In the meantime, we'd put like 3,000 or 3,500 miles on this thing in 3 days. Took the running boards off because we didn't like the way they looked. Colin peed on the floor because he's baptizing it. And Dad calls and says, Mom is not very happy. She found out we bought you a new pickup. She said either the pickup goes or I go, and she was catching the next flight back from Chicago. So she came back. They took that pickup and Dad's pickup back, traded it, and Dad ended up with a new pickup. So he always says, don't ever say you can't take a new pickup back, because you can.
Did you take the running boards and everything back?
They're probably still at Al's Quarter in the shed. It wasn't burned up. But no, never did. And they never said anything. I think it had 3,500 miles on it in 3 or 4 days.
Over a weekend.
And they took it back.
I bet they were scared of your mom. That was probably just the, yep, let's just get her back.
Yep.
All right. Well, on that note, let's wrap things up. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Rural Dispatch. I hope you found something valuable to take back to your own operation. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. You can keep up with me between episodes on socials at Barons & Co., or join our email list on our website to get new episodes delivered straight to your inbox every Wednesday. Until next time, keep those wheels turning. We'll talk soon. Really quick, I want to share something with you that keeps me on top of my game. It's no secret that Smoke and I don't drink like we used to. So these days, even if I have just one glass of wine, I'm feeling it the next morning. I started taking Z-Biotics before nights out with friends or a date night when I know I'm going to have a drink or two. And I'm telling you, it actually works. I can still enjoy myself and not feel like garbage the next day, which absolutely matters when, let's be honest, every day is kind of a work day around here. If you want to give it a try, use the link in the show notes or enter rural at checkout for a little discount.